Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos and Abuja. A reminder of our top stories. Minister of Health declares 4 patients Ebola-free, bringing the number of survivors to 5. Federal government suspends the use of nano-silver drug for Ebola treatment. Nasarawa lawmakers return to Lafia, re-strategize on the impeachment of Governor Tanko Al-Makura. And an armed black teenager has been killed by a police officer in Missouri, in the United States. And to you now that all our top stories are on our website, channelstv.com, and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Do visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. And we urge you to interact with the Channels Eyewitness feature on our Android, iOS and Windows 8 platforms. If you have pictures or videos to share with us, tap the application on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu, and then follow the instructions. Now let's just give you a bit more perspective on our lead story. That's the containment of the Ebola virus disease. And although there are no confirmed cases of Ebola in other states of the Federation, the authorities are leaving nothing to chance to curtail the spread of the disease. Our correspondent Mary Alela Yusuf gives us an update of the situation in other parts of the country.
There seems to be progress in the fight against the Ebola virus disease, with 4 more patients getting a clean bill of health. But the Lagos state government says it is yet to receive any money from the 1.9 billion naira intervention fund the federal government says it has released. It is not yet clear how much of the fund will come to the state, but authorities are sure it will help the management of the emergency situation.
Thank you, sir.
And up north, the Nasarawa state government denies reports in some media about purported cases of Ebola in the state. The State Commissioner for Health clears the air, saying there were minor cases of cholera in some parts of the state, as he goes on to assure the press of its preparedness to tackle the Ebola virus.
There is no case of Ebola viral disease in Nasarawa state. When we heard about the outbreak in Lagos, we immediately sat down, because before now we had a standing task force in Nasarawa state for control of epidemics. The task force was transformed into a rapid response team.
In Plateau State, the authorities are here to inaugurate a 12-member committee for Ebola virus disease prevention and containment. The Jos University Teaching Hospital is one of those set aside to handle any case which may come up. In a presentation to the committee, a representative of the World Health Organization enumerates some of the problems facing medical personnel in handling the disease.
No life support ambulances for evacuation of patients to hospital when needed. Inadequate infection control supplies, including personal protective equipment, which we call PPE.
Coming down south, the governor of Imo State, Rochas Okorocha, has some salient advice for the indigents of the state.
Please avoid bushmeat, especially this period, this time. And again, avoid making contact with dead bodies. And for now, I will announce that they should stop taking dead bodies to the churches.
And a firm directive to make sure the Ebola virus disease is not imported into Imo State.
Imo should, and communities should now take note of their relations who live in any of the African countries, Liberia, Congo, Ghana, Sudan, any of the African countries. If anyone lives in an African country, please, it's advised that you don't let him come home even for Christmas.
The governor also requests indigents to report to the authorities any arrival from another African country into the state. The battle against Ebola virus must remain a collective effort, with the government providing information and amenities, and people adhering to medical advice by keeping basic hygiene rules and reporting any suspected case to the relevant authorities. Mary Alale Yusuf, Channels Television News.
All right, over now to Abuja. Here's Linda Akigbe. Linda.
Hello, Ijoma, and welcome to the nation's capital. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has challenged political parties in Nigeria to educate the election monitoring agents on current electoral practices to ensure credible polls in 2015. The chairman of the commission, Professor Atahiru Jega, told journalists at a training session for party agents that agents who are informed about the electoral process help authenticate the outcome of the elections. This submission was shared by the Electoral Institute and the Inter-Party Advisory Council, who noted that party agents in Nigeria are yet to understand their statutory roles during elections.
You know, there was a heavy rainstorm in Abuja on Friday, and to a large extent it affected deployment for distribution of cards, and it also affected turnout. As of yesterday afternoon, we had only about 13% of the registered voters in FCT who had collected their cards. So we felt that there is legitimate grounds for extension. Extension is very costly, and it has to be avoided. After all, when we finish, it doesn't mean that we have finished distributing cards completely. Whatever cards are not, excuse me, were not distributed will be taken back to our INEC offices, and we will be distributing cards maybe up to January of 2011. So really, 2015. So even if you don't get your card now during this 3-day distribution, you can always go to the INEC local government office and collect your card if you have registered. For party agents to be able to discharge this responsibility, they need to be properly and adequately trained. And as INEC, we believe that our contribution will be to train master trainers for political parties so that they can go back and train and have very credible agents who are knowledgeable about the electoral process and who will be able to play a good role for the parties that they represent as agents.
Our little knowledge and short political history of the country shows that some of these party agents do not seem to understand their statutory role and ethical best practices in terms of what is expected of them when they go to the polling units. So what we are trying to do in INEC is to go to this training, 3-day training, to equip them technically and introduce the various technical issues involved with being a party agent at a polling unit.
It is part of the thing that will pay to a credible election. You see, the agent has a very serious, important, critical role to play in electioneering. Once he has the right materials and the training, he will give pay to the election that has taken place, thereby knowing exactly what the procedures are, one, ensuring that the ballot paper is clinically done to the interest of all these political parties, two, to ensure also that he appends his signature on the result sheet. And if a political party does his homework very well, he could collate the result all nationwide and collate it and correspond with what INEC will announce as a result. That way, everybody will be sure that what was announced is what the political party has.
The Nasarawa State House of Assembly resumed plenary today after a failed move to impeach Governor Tanko Al-Makura. At their sitting, the lawmakers resolved to write a petition to the National Judicial Council, NJC, to investigate the role of the state's chief judge in the impeachment saga. The lawmakers had accused the chief judge, Justice Sulaiman Diko, of partisanship in the discharge of his duties. They also suspended Honorable Tanko Tunga, a member of the Assembly elected under the platform of the opposition APC.
This is the first sitting of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly lawmakers since the impeachment plot against Governor Al-Makura was hatched some months back. The last appears not to have been heard on the impeachment plot, as the PDP lawmakers are now taking some fresh steps. First, they suspended the House rules to allow for the presentation of two issues.
I am on my feet to crowd the abundance of this distinguished House to agree with me completely and totally that the claim that we should write to the National Judicial Council to investigate the activities of the Chief Judge of Nasarawa State under the section of information, because it discovered that a lot of mistakes and a lot of lacunas in setting up the panel to investigate the allegation of misconduct of the gross misconduct of the governor during the impeachment saga.
Done with the motion on the Chief Judge, the lawmakers moved to suspend one of their colleagues from the APC.
On 23rd of July 2014, a member popularly known as Honorable Tanko Tunga, representing the people of Awake from Right, obstruct our business, insult the whole house, push my speaker, tamper with the symbol of authority, popularly called mess. With this regard, sir, I move that such a member should proceed on 6 months suspension and be placed on half salary.
Once both motions were carried, the Speaker ruled, directing the clerk to effect the resolutions immediately. After this, the lawmakers adjourned till the next day. It's not yet clear what their next move against the governor is, but what appears clear are the plans to move against his loyalists and possible allies.
When the news at 10 returns, CBN pledges support for SMEs in the country. That's some business news. Join us again.